So you've picked the perfect venue, you've tasted the cake, and the guest list is finally locked in. But before you can actually walk down that aisle in Connecticut, there's one absolutely crucial piece of paper standing between you and saying, I do. Welcome to our explainer on securing your Connecticut marriage license. I'm your host, and today we're going to break down the exact steps to navigate this vital records process, ensuring your wedding day is literally, legally flawless. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this. Are you ready to tie the knot in CT? Look, I know the administrative side of a wedding isn't exactly as fun as, say, tasting champagne, right? But it is the absolute foundation of your big day. Whether you're a local resident or you're planning a picturesque destination wedding in New England, getting your paperwork in order is step number one. And right off the bat, let's just relieve some immediate stress here. Myth busted. No waiting period, no blood tests, and no witnesses required. Unlike some neighboring states that kind of make you jump through extra hoops, Connecticut actually issues your marriage license immediately upon a valid application. There is literally no mandatory waiting period to get married, no outdated blood tests. Yes, some places still did that. And believe it or not, the state doesn't even require you to have witnesses sign the document. You could technically grab your license and get married that very same afternoon. How cool is that? So here's our agenda for today. First, the CT marriage license. Second, eligibility and required documents. Third, the application and costs. Fourth, validity and authorized officiants. And finally, finalizing your official certificate. All right, starting with Section 1, the CT marriage license, your legal ticket down the aisle. You can think of a marriage license as the legal authorization issued by a Connecticut town's registrar of vital statistics, which is required to perform a valid marriage ceremony. Without this legal ticket, your carefully chosen officiant literally cannot perform the ceremony. It guarantees that you and your partner meet all state requirements before you can officially exchange vows. Without this document physically in the hands of your officiant prior to the ceremony, any attempt to celebrate the marriage is considered legally void. And honestly, the officiant could actually face fines, so yeah, it's pretty important. Moving right along to Section 2, eligibility and required documents. Basically, who can marry and what to bring. So who can legally marry and what do you actually need? Well, here is your eligibility checklist. You must be exactly 18 or older, and there are no exceptions here anymore. You cannot be currently married, and you cannot be closely related. Though first cousins are actually allowed, siblings are definitely not. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the total lack of a residency requirement. You do not need to live in Connecticut at all, which makes the state an incredibly popular, hassle-free destination wedding spot. Now, when you show up to prove your eligibility, you're gonna need proper identification. The primary ID is the gold standard, a valid government photo ID with your birth date, signature, and expiration, like a driver's license or passport. If you don't happen to have that, you'll need a secondary ID, which means 2 forms of alternate ID. And a massive word of caution here, guys. The name on your application absolutely must match your full legal name exactly. No abbreviations, no nicknames, no initials. It has to match your birth certificate, unless your name was legally changed through a court order or a previous marriage. Okay, Section 3, the application and costs, where to go and what to pay. Now that your documents are all gathered up, it's time to actually go do the thing. Step 1, identify the town of your ceremony. Step 2, appear in person at that specific town clerk's office. And Step 3, complete the application and swear an oath. Let's say you're a couple escaping New York City to get married in Mystic, Connecticut. You love this process because of the lack of a waiting period. You literally just go to the Mystic town clerk, swear an oath, and sign. And a fun little fact here, if your work schedules conflict, you can actually appear on completely different days to sign the application. It's super flexible. When you apply, obviously be prepared to pay. The marriage license itself is a $50 base fee, but you won't want to stop there. So the crucial point is prepaying for the certified copy, which is an extra $20. I highly recommend you prepay this while you're standing right there. You're going to need that certified copy later to prove you're actually married for things like name changes, insurance, or taxes. Prepaying that $20 means you aren't scrambling to mail in requests and checks right after you get back from your honeymoon. Just pay the whole shebang up front and save yourself the headache later. All right, Section 4, validity and authorized officiants. The countdown and the ceremony. So the paperwork is signed and the fee is paid. But how long do you actually have to use it? 65. That is your magic number. A Connecticut marriage license is only valid for exactly 65 days. And remember how we said applicants could sign their application on different days? Well, that 65-day countdown clock starts ticking on the exact date the very first applicant signs the paperwork. If you don't hold your ceremony within that 65-day window, poof, the license completely expires and you'll have to start the whole process and pay the fees all over again. Nobody wants that. Assuming you beat the clock, you need a legally recognized officiant. So who can actually officiate? Connecticut allows justices of the peace, active or retired judges and magistrates, ordained or licensed clergy, and even online ordained ministers, like from the Universal Life Church. And this brilliantly illustrates Connecticut's modern flexibility. So yes, your best friend can totally get ordained online and legally officiate your wedding. Awesome, right? But here is a massive pro tip and a very common pitfall couples fall into. Notaries public cannot officiate weddings in Connecticut. In some neighboring states, sure, a notary can marry you, but under Connecticut general statutes, they are strictly prohibited from doing so. So always make absolutely sure your chosen officiant falls into the legally authorized categories we just talked about. Okay, moving on to our final section, Section 5, finalizing your official certificate, post-ceremony legal duties. The vows have been said, the reception is in full swing. But wait, the legal journey isn't quite over yet. After the ceremony, your officiant has a strict legal duty to complete the bottom portion of your marriage license. Step 1. The officiant signs the license in black ink. State regulations actually mandate this must be permanent black ink. Step 2. The officiant returns the license to the town clerk where the marriage took place. And Step 3. Once the town registers that completed document, your license officially becomes a marriage certificate. But the officiant is on a tight deadline. By law, they must return the signed license to the registrar by the first week of the month following the marriage. This creates a really fascinating, kind of variable deadline. Think about it. If you get married on October 31st, your officiant only has about 7 days to file it. But if you get married on October 1st, they have well over a month before that first week of November deadline hits. Now, hey, accidents happen, right? What if your officiant forgets to mail it? Or it literally gets lost in the mail? Don't panic. The law provides a brilliant backup plan. Quote, if any person fails to return the certificate to the registrar, the persons joined in marriage may provide the registrar with a notarized affidavit. Basically, if the certificate isn't returned, you and your partner can provide an affidavit swearing to the date and place you were married. Once that's recorded, your marriage is deemed legally valid right back to the date of the ceremony. Your marriage is completely safe. Let's move to and see how this builds into our summary. Plan ahead, apply in your ceremony town, prepay your fees, and track your 65-day window. Basically, getting married in Connecticut is incredibly accessible if you just follow the rules. Have your IDs ready, ensure you're 18, apply in the town where you're actually saying your vows, grab that certified copy, make sure your officiant is legit, and watch that 65-day expiration window. Of course, we have to include our disclaimer. Regulations can change. Always verify current laws with official CT government resources or consult a legal professional. As with all legal matters, it's vital to remember that state statutes and vital records procedures can and do evolve over time. This explainer is based on current Connecticut law, but just double-check everything to ensure total compliance on your big day. So whether you're planning an intimate elopement by the coast or a huge, grand celebration in the countryside, the administrative steps are super straightforward. Your Connecticut wedding is just a signature away. So where will your dream destination be? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy wedding planning!